etc., etc. All right. All right, StormKing, are you ready for this ding-dang thing?
I was ready 15 minutes ago.
All right. So let's fucking get it started.
Okay, I'm glad that this will hopefully be not within the first 3 minutes of the YouTube video.
I made sure to check before I swore.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Take it away.
Anyways, for more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind. By the might of his inexhaustible armies, a million worlds stand against the dark. Yet he is a rotting carcass, the carrion lord of the Imperium, held in life by marvels from the dark age of technology, and the 1,000 souls sacrificed each day so his may continue to burn. To be a man in such times is to be among untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime intangible. It is to live in... Oh, I wrote that twice. Oh my god, I'm so professional. It is to suffer an eternity of carnage and slaughter. It is to have cries of anguish and sorrow drowned by the thirsting laughter of dark gods. This is a dark and terrible era where you will find little comfort or hope. Forget the power of technology and science. Forget the promise of progress and advancement. Forget any notion of common humanity or compassion. There is no peace amongst the stars, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And possibly your future match.
And a little bit of love.
And a little bit of love. All right, chat. Let's be real here, since it's just us now. 40K. Super silly. No, don't let anybody tell you that 40K is a serious thing for grown-up adults. It's grim dark or whatever. This setting is so fucking silly. So that's why we're doing a silly thing to explain it to you guys.
I mean, it's also grim dark too, but
80s. What was that?
It's also grim dark too, but it's also very silly.
Don't even listen to that.
Okay.
It's been around since the 80s, and has codices upon codices of lore, and we're not going to go through all of that. And Fen, you did not miss any smashing. We're just going through the intro right now. You're good, buddy. So we're just going to give you a little bit of a Tyranid's eye view of the galaxy, and more specifically of humanity.
-2.
I thought it was a good one. As that is where we'll find all the baddies. 40K is a massive mix of genres of all places. Sci-fi and fantasy, aliens and demons, laser guns and warhammers. About 40K of them. +2.
He even put it in himself.
He said the thing.
40K is set in our galaxy.
Oh my god, you're patting yourself on the shoulder with that one.
That's right, chat. Even you are canon to 40K. A long time ago, humanity was born, and so was the master of mankind himself, the Emperor. He spent his life living amongst us and posing as key players in history and hiding away until humanity's darkest hour. That's right. The Emperor at one point was probably Ronald Reagan.
Oh, buddy, come on.
I hate that.
Not that one.
Anyways, that time wouldn't come until we reached the stars. Humanity became so advanced that their technology was like magic. And to reach through those stars, they had to travel through hell, otherwise known as the warp. The warp, it's filled with demons and the ruinous powers of chaos. You know, those little guys, those little stinkers. It honestly really wasn't that bad when they were doing that. It honestly was just a means to an end to spread across the galaxy. And it worked for them for a really long time. Until one day the worm became a little fucky-wucky and untraversable. And all FDL travel came to an immediate halt. Faster than light travel, that is. So humanity proceeded to die, scattered among the stars, unable to receive their DoorDash orders and take holidays in space Australia. This is where the Emperor comes in. He reconquered a destitute Earth and respective solar system and began his great crusade to spread the Imperial truth. The Imperial truth is the belief that it is humanity's right to conquer the stars. So naturally, he bioengineered himself 20 beautiful suns, as you would do in his situation. For each son, he had a general, and for each son, he granted an army based off their genetic identity to serve under them. These sons are the Primarchs and are eligible bachelors for the evening. After creating his magnificently strong test tube babies, Daddy Emperor took a smoke break. And when he came back, someone done took his sons. Like, straight up just took them. All his sons were gone. And the culprit was none other than the ruinous powers of chaos. Khorne, the lord and blood taker of skulls. Nurgle, the plague father and lord of pestilence. Tzeentch, the changer of ways and the great conspirator. And finally, the newly born Slaanesh, the lord of excess. Excuse me, I was talking. Excess and she who thirsts. Them nasty demon god things were like, holy shit, we gotta get rid of those guys, and opened a portal through the warp and scattered them all across the galaxy. Hopefully, whoever finds them sons raises them well. Anyways, we're gonna now transition into a brief overview of the Horus Heresy. So,
I played Elden Ring.
As StormKing has presented, brief is a very generous term to give the Horus Heresy. So now we've come to the difficult part of the stream. The Horus Heresy is a long-running book series for the 40k universe, and it is 63 books long that ran for almost 20 years. That has a reading order that looks like this.
I read some of those.
Please don't leave. Please, God, please don't leave. We ain't gonna go through all that. We're all friends here. No. Instead, we're just gonna give a brief overview of the events, the main events, and we can fill in more context as we introduce our bachelors. Because in reality, the Horus Heresy story is about the Primarchs interacting with each other, and Big Daddy Emperor and Horus Heresy himself. So here's a little bit of what happened. So the Great Crusade was well underway. The Emperor and his legions in town massacring aliens and reuniting humans and all that didn't fall in line. He eventually found all of his Primarchs, etc., and granted them their legions out scattered across the stars, and we'll kind of go into more of that later on here. Basically, they were doing really, really well in conquering the galaxy and stuff like that. So the Emperor was like, all right, I'm going to Midwest goodbye, and named his favorite son, Horus Lupercal, as the new War Master of the Crusade.
Mr. Heresy.
Mr. Heresy, yes. He then went and drank beer back on Terra and made weird inventions and stuff. I really don't know what he was doing up there. Well, Horus kept following in his dad's footsteps. You know, he's like, Horus was his favorite son and everything like that. So it was a big deal, him being named the War Master. And one day, a plot was made in the shadows to slowly corrupt Horus and corrupt him towards the powers of chaos. This plot was largely successful and eventually got. It's a really hard to explain story, but we'll just kind of summarize it and say that it worked, the plot worked, and Horus was starting to become corrupted by the ruinous powers. And they were starting to show him visions of the Emperor bringing the Imperium and humanity to ruin. And then these visions that he was receiving were also bolstered by the very real treatment that weren't just fabricated by the chaos, by the Emperor to his brothers, to his various brothers. Like, for example, he treated Angron really terribly throughout the entire time of throughout the Horus Heresy. He made a gigantic destitute showing of force against his son Lorgar as well too, for trying to worship the Emperor as a god. And actually, Lorgar's people and his legion actually started all these motions in to begin with. So all of this discontent really started boiling over, and Horus started gathering allies, and we have 20 Primarchs here that we're going to go over, and half of them stayed loyal, half of them went to the side of Horus and became traitors, essentially. this all kicked off the heresy in earnest. There's a lot of big battles that happen there. We'll get into it later, etc. We're gonna give. Hey, I told you this is gonna be extremely brief because we don't need to talk about
This
it.
is brief.
Yes. Hey, if you wanted it different, write it yourself. All right. So Horus gathered his brothers and that were driven to his cause, and then it all ended up boiling over to the siege of Terra. Horus led a big final-ditch assault on Earth and engaged his father in combat, but was ultimately defeated. But however, the Emperor was mortally wounded and was interred on the Golden Throne to spend the next millennium a shell of his former self. And that's what actually kicks us off into the 40k universe itself. Basically, humanity takes a nosedive. They start worshiping the Emperor as a god, which is not what the Emperor wanted at all. And really, the entire galaxy is in ruin. But we're not going to get into that because we're talking about the Primarchs, and they were mainly around during the Horus Heresy. So thank you for staying with us for that long, as StormKing mentioned, brief history. Anyone still horny? We ready to
My dude.
move into the show? Anybody still horny right now?
Stop
we ready?
that.
We ready?
Oh,
All right, Judd. Feel free. We're going to start on our first Primarch. Feel free to jump in whenever you want, etc. And we'll kind of go from there. So, our first eligible contestant is Lionel Johnson. He is the leader of the Dark Angels. He is a taciturn, prideful, observant, strategic, martial superiority, and an apex predator. Lionel Johnson, when he was yeeted across... So basically, he crash world on the forest world of Caliban, where he was he grew up in a world ran by knightly orders and gigantic mutated beasts. The Emperor found him already with a united world, and the Lion immediately showed fealty to him. Of all the Primarchs, Lion really stands apart. It's partially due to his taciturn nature, his brooding silence. There's something more buried underneath of him, though. He has a noble exterior, and it's probably due to his upbringing of having to grow in silence and etc. And hunt these gigantic chaos-ridden mutated beasts on his planet, that kind of thing. He's always considered an apex predator, and he actually it's said that he unnerved even his brothers, etc. So he really some of his turn-ons, he really is into the people who are honor bound and dutiful. He really likes quiet nights, Judd. I don't know if you're into that, and really wants somebody to speak his mind. He's really put off by the morally gray, headstrong, glory seekers, and also those unable to keep their commitments. Some of his biggest wins during the heresy is that he really brought in a ton of different worlds under to the Imperium, etc. So he acted really swiftly and decisively, and he sought no glory for this. He just kind of went in, took care of it, and he was done. He was another big W for him is that he was a huge threat to the traitors during the Horus Heresy, to the point where they had to bog him down. Otherwise, the entire Civil War would not have worked. Like, they had to take him, fuck with him on the other side of the galaxy, and have him all fucking distracted in order to get their plans underway. His biggest L's, and I know StormKing could probably speak a little bit about this, is that he was owned by his brother, very much owned by his brother for Conrad Kurz for like a year.
Among Us.
Basically, Among Us. Basically, you know how I said that they had to keep him all off, away from everybody? They sent Conrad Kurz and his faction, the Night Lords, we'll talk about him later, towards him and bogged him down and hid in his ship and murdered everybody in his ship like dogs, basically, and it really fucked him up. And another big L for him is that at the end of the heresy, when he returned home, he realized that half his legion had fell to chaos, along with his mentor/brother figure from his homeworld of Caliban, which resulted in his untimely woundedment for 10,000 years, and completely destroyed his homeworld and made the Dark Angels completely paranoid and conspiratorial into the 40K universe. Anything else you'd like to add here, StormKing?
Yeah, he also threatened to bomb his brother's mom because one of his other brothers was hiding on that planet.
Yeah.
And he was going to do it. He was going to blow up the whole planet.
And actually, I actually just listened to this bit a little bit on a podcast. It got a little refresher. He actually did bomb part of the planet, just not as much as he said.
Oh.
And then, and then his brother found out about it, and he literally got banished from. There was a time in the heresy where they called this thing the Imperium Secundus, which is Second Imperium, basically.
And also Secundus Dick.
Yep, Secundus Dick. +2. But basically, they were like, the Empire has fallen, so it's only the three of us, and it was Guilliman, Sanguinius, and the Lion here, and we'll talk about those other two later. Basically, they ran their own little Second Imperium, and they ousted Lion from it because he lied and shit. However, the Lion redeemed himself by interrogating Kurz to the point where they actually found out the Emperor was still alive and it was able to get the Sanguinius and his army to Terra for the defense of the siege of Terra, essentially. So a lot of stuff going on there. Anything else you got, StormKing? Nope. Okay. All right. So for me, I'm thinking I'm a little biased, chat. I'm a little biased. Lionel Johnson is my Primarch. The Dark Angels that he leads are the army that I paint. I feel like if I don't say Smash, I will be doing a disservice to my hobby. But also, I think Lion is actually really cool, especially now in the 40K universe, because he has since come back, and he is actually a more... he realized that a lot of the stuff that he did during the crusade was really shitty, and he was not very compassionate, and he's actually turned over a more compassionate side of himself, and he's actually redeeming some of the people who went traitor in his own legion in the current setting. So I think now where it stands with him, I think he would be a very compassionate and dedicated lover. So Smash.
He seems like someone you'd take home to the parents, you know? Yeah, you know, before he, like, blows up the planet to try to catch one of his either brothers. All that being said...
He's different now!
He is a man of commitment.
Man of action. All that being said, Smash.
Yeah, no, I figured you'd hit me with one of those, StormKing. All right, Judd, what are your thoughts? Any questions? Anything?
Oh, it's 100% Smash. There's no doubt.
Smash!
Yeah. I will say there's one thing that's irking me though.
What's irking you?
What's irking you?
Why is his middle name L?
Actually, there's a good question. There's actually
I don't like it. I don't like that they split one full name into two.
So I actually
his
know
name is
why.
Becoming a meme for me.
I know why they did this, and it's because it's L. Johnson or whatever, or something like that. I can't remember his name. He's a poet, and he made a famous poem literally called The Dark Angel. So he's actually named after that poet. So that's why they did it like that.
And then in universe, he's also taking the naming strategy of Sonic the Hedgehog. So
yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's fine. I can get over it. I just want to see his L. Johnson.
Bro.
So I had a quote for this one, but we got off to a little bit of a rougher start here. The rest of the Primarchs are going to have quotes. He doesn't need a quote. He's a resounding smash.
So man of action, not of words.
Exactly. We'll move on to the next one. StormKing, yes, absolutely.
Jeez.
All right, our second bachelor. Let's bring him up.
Stop yelling.
Oh shit. Something happened.
Oh, he's got a bit.
Spooge driver, what the fuck is that? Let's search the internet. Oh. Oh, Lionel Johnson, you're back?
This fucking guy. Bro plays Dark Angels, can't help but put him in here twice. Get him out of my face.
Anyways, moving on. We're moving on to the third Primarch, Fulgrim, the vainglorious, the perfect, innovative, art aficionado, creative connoisseur, a modern Renaissance man, leader of the Emperor's children. Fulgrim is, he loves it when you give him a lot of compliments and those who strive for perfection. He doesn't really like the slow and the ignorant, those with zero passion and nothing to say. Some of his biggest wins, I'm gonna be upright with everybody here. So Fulgrim was very hard to write for, mostly because he is so all over the fucking place during his entire story. Like, I don't know what the fuck this guy wants half the time. So I don't know what he would consider a win. I don't know what he would consider a loss. So honestly, you can interchange any of these. So I'm just gonna go into it, but like, so there was this big thing, this big event that really kicked off the heresy in instance, in like full force. It was called the Battle of Isfahan 5, also known as the Drop Site Massacre. But basically, Horus tricked a bunch of loyalist Primarchs to come over and deal with the Chaos Uprising, not realizing that a bunch of other Primarchs went traitor and massacred the lot of them. During that battle, and one of the most important things during that battle that happened was the death of one of the brothers, one of the Primarchs, who we will be talking about here later on. But Fulgrim defeated his brother Ferrus Manus in a one-on-one duel during the Drop Site Massacre, literally cutting his head off. And another thing that he did is he's actually pretty, like, he's got a sick body count when it comes to his brothers. He also probably has a sick body count in other places, but we're not going to talk about that here.
-2.
I think we do need to talk about that given the context.
He dealt an extremely lethal blow to his brother Robute, that's how you pronounce it, Guilliman, as well. But this was after the heresy and actually sent Guilliman himself into basically a poison stasis for 10,000 years as well, and we'll get into that in Guilliman's slide. Some of his biggest losses, this beautiful man that you see in front of us right now is not what he looks like anymore. He's actually a gigantic snake demon, so if any of y'all have your monster fucker permit on hand, please present in chat, because he is now a big snake monster. StormKing, if you want to, while I'm talking, if you want to grab a picture to throw up there, that'd be cool.
I thought bro had this.
You told me not to put any extra pictures.
I can't, because it's taking up my whole slide.
Exactly. But yeah, he became possessed by a demon blade, which eventually led to him turning into a demon. And then when he got to the Siege of Terra or whatever, he literally was fighting for a little bit and was like, you know what? This place is boring. It doesn't interest me anymore. And he fucking leaves. Like, so this is why the Siege of Terra really doesn't work. Like, this is why Horus dies in the end. Like, a lot of his traitors just abandoned the cause, and he was one of them. So, here's my take on Fulgrim. I think Fulgrim, before he became all crazy and demon-possessed and everything like that, I probably would smash him. He seems like a really cool guy. He was actually originally really dedicated to the Emperor and everything like that. But it's like when he starts like changing his mindset and everything like that, I can't get behind him. So I'm gonna pass.
Oof. All right, that's fine. You also forgot that, like, bro's into some weird shit. Bro's into some weird stuff. So, okay, hold on. Important question for the rest of this. Are we assuming we survive the smashing? I'd like to think yes, right?
I think yes. We're gonna. Yeah, you're the point of this is that you're having a romantic evening with them and you're smashing, and then you live afterwards.
All right, so in that case, smash. Bro probably has. He makes drugs out of people. Never tried that before. He enjoys the finer things in life. You know, probably good food, probably good drink, and just some things that, you know, you've always been a little too nervous to try out. So you kind of like, open up your incognito tab. You see how that kind of stuff goes, and you're like, man, I would never talk about this in public, but I think I'm kind of into this. In that case, we smashing.
Cool. So I want to put a point out there. A little debate here for Fulgrim. StormKing, what is one thing that you really, really do not like? An excess of sound.
Listen.
So you are very easy to startle, and you get very overwhelmed very easy. I don't think you can handle Fulgrim.
What the heck?
I don't think you can handle Fulgrim at his Slaneshi deviance.
Bang, bang. Shots fired.
It's okay. I'm only deaf in one ear.
You're going to be deaf in every ear. All 4 of them.
I said my piece. I'm smashing.
All right, Judge. It's in your court now.
Listen, I'll start out by saying this. Fulgrim, more like I'd use him as a fulcrum.
Oh, that was bad. That one was real bad.
That took me a second to get. That took me a second.
We're digging real back into the high school physics for that one.
Okay, well, if you're doing inside jokes between each other, that just came out as a bad fucking joke.
All right, no, thank you. Some people got it. Come on, we're getting scientific.
No, I get it. And you know what? I'm going to give you a +2 just because StormKing went against me.
I hate my mods.
All right, no, now that I got that bit out of the way, though, I'm going to be honest. I'm not into the snake person thing. I'm passing.
Y'all are weak.
And I'm out.
But does sound, with the whole drugs out of human things, sounds like a hell of a time. Wood party.
Bro, the snake part is one of the wood improvements. That's a positive.
Has anybody ever here in this chat done drugs off of a human?
We would never talk about that because no, we don't do that. Anyway, next Primarch.
Next. For our third Primarch, we have Perturabo. His Legion of the Iron Warriors. Good old Peter Turbo himself. A calculating and brooding intelligent man. Innovative, a savant. He's known to be a peerless engine of war. Let's be real here with Purdy. All right? This guy...
Hold on, the call ends in 15 minutes.
What the fuck do you mean?
Group calls have a limit up to 1 hour. Wrap it up. Move it.
Google's fucking us.
We'll back out and we'll get back in.
The scuff.
The real scuff. Here's the thing about Peter Turbo. I think he's a very tragic character. He grew up in a planet that was raised by a ruling tyrant, and his adopted father essentially used him. And Perturabo, he had an eidetic memory. So for those who don't know what that is, it means everything he learned, he can remember perfectly. That kind of thing. He had a very big strategic mindset for warfare and all that stuff. And basically he got used for that. But he really wanted to kind of like just sit around in his tower and make stuff like aqueducts and shit and that kind of thing. And he's like, fuck you, Dad. I hate you, Dad. One day I'm going to be better than this. And then the Emperor comes in and he's like, see, that's my real dad. I'm going to do things better. And then his real dad was like, I want you to be a general in my great crusade and build nothing but war machines. And also I'm going to make you fight some of the worst fucking things in the universe. And it probably goes without saying that Perturabo went traitor. He's a traitor, and he's not a very good dude after that. So I have a little bit of a soft spot for him, because I feel like if you could get your hands on Peter Turbo and really make him feel valued, I think he'd be such a dedicated lover. Also, he's super into info dumping. I like it when people speak about their passions and everything like that. So I don't know. That kind of stuff. So you probably think I'm leaning towards Smash, which is true. I'm leaning towards Smash on this guy. Like I said, he's the biggest war machine for the Heresy. He was basically the one who planned the entire logistics of the drop site massacre. At the end of the Siege of Terra, he seized the Imperial Palace. Some of his biggest L's is that his homeworld, Olympia, rebelled against him, and he ended up killing his adoptive sister, the only person that he actually confided in. So he's got a little bit of a temperament, but we could work that out. And he also actually really hated demons and using the warp and everything like that. He preferred just doing it all by himself and everything like that. But in the end, he turned into a Daemon Primarch at the end, and that's something he really fucking hated. And yes, Houlihan, you're right. He does give off incel vibes, but I feel like I could save him. I could fix him. So I'm going Smash.
All right. Chad, I'm gonna be real with you. I'll give it to you straight. Reddit atheist incel. Immediate pass. That's all you need.
That's fair. That's fair. I know I'm on the wrong on this one, but like I said, I think he really is a substance of his upbringing, and I feel like if he had just had somebody that understood him, and somebody who talked to him and understood him at a ground level, I think he'd be a really dedicated lover and really care.
You'll bring him to Thanksgiving dinner and he will pick a debate with your questionable uncle.
And you know what? Sometimes our questionable uncles need to be debated against.
Not when I'm having Thanksgiving dinner.
All right, fair enough. Judge, what are you thinking?
I'm looking at one thing on the screen here, and I think it would land me in a lot of trouble. His turn off his trusting nature. I am a very trusting person by default. So I feel like that would put me in a lot of danger with this man who has proven himself to be irrationally violent at times.
Yeah, he do be violent. By the way, when he killed his adoptive sister, he grabbed her by the neck and throttled her.
Yeah, see, now in the right context.
Yeah, so
I'd be worried I'd be rolling the dice with that one.
No, I know I'm gonna take the L here on this one. I'm still devout with the Smash. I have a little bit of a broken heart for this guy.
And hey, you know what? I'm gonna respect that decision. But as for mine, I'm going pass.
Pass it is.
Pass it is.
Also, Putrid, nothing wrong with atheists. It's the Reddit atheists.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yep. I had so much more stuff written for these, but we're blowing through them. Who cares? We're here to have fun. All right, the fifth Primarch, Jagatai Khan. I want to get lost in those Jagathais, if you know what I'm talking about. Leader of the White Scars, a stoic individual. He's ruthless, swift. He's a conqueror by nature, also known as the Laughing Killer. He is firm, decisive, and he likes that in his partner. He likes horseback riding and those who do not abandon their brothers. He hates the brash and the boastful and those unable to put their money where their mouth is. Fulcrum. Being unable to settle past debts. Some of his biggest W's is that he was instrumental in finding the Librarius chapter within the Astartes Legions, which are the Space Marine Legions. And Librarians are essentially these people who have magic powers. They're called Psychers. And he helped, along with a couple of his other brothers, helped establish the Librarius chapter within Space Marines in order to foster their growth rather than ostracize them. And he was extremely instrumental in the defense of Terra. He's one of the only full legions that made it to the Siege of Terra because, like I said, a lot of them were distracted down there. But he was there in earnest, and along with his legion. and honestly, it was during the heresy. A lot of people, people on both sides of the fence there didn't know where he was gonna go. People thought he would go to Horus. People thought he'd go with the Emperor, but he took his time rather than to rush headstrong into the action, and he made what he thought would be the best decision, and he threw his lot in with the Emperor. His biggest L's is that he almost died at the hands of Mortarion at one point, after he had a small-scale civil war within his own legion, but he did actually end up pulling out of that just fine and made it to Terra just fine. And then towards the end of the
Hold
heresy...
on, sorry. So you're
Yeah.
saying the pullout game is strong?
Actually, I'm going to say with Jagathai Khan, his pullout game real strong. He gets in there and he gets out. He's good. And then he lost several of his homeworlds to Drukhari, which are these horrible space elves that like to do terrible things to people. And that actually ended up with him chasing those Drukhari into the webway, which is what these space elves use to travel, rather than the warp. And he hasn't been heard of since. So he got lost there. So I probably indicated my bias a little bit, but I think Jagathai Khan is a big pass.
Wow.
Sorry, big smash from me. I think he's handsome. I think he is cool, and I'm not going to go on the easy joke that he's so fast and swift that it probably only lasts 2 minutes. No, he probably lasts exactly how long it needs to be, and you get the job done. You know?
Uh-huh. Chad, I'm gonna just say this. Bro's got a motorcycle, ride off into the sunset, the beautiful grassy fields of Chagoris, his planet. Instant smash. Instant smash. Look at that face. Look at that handsome devil. That's a smash.
This is a really good artwork of Jagathai Khan. There's some good artwork of him out there. This is probably one of the best. All right.
Yeah, I gotta say, chat beat me to the punch with this one. Like, this dude's just Space Khal Drogo. It's such a smash. It's such a smash. And you know, I'm in my financial literacy era, so we love ourselves a thrifty, committed king.
Yeah, I figured this guy was going to be a resounding smash. He honestly, he's pretty perfect as Primarchs go. It was actually really hard for me to write the L's for his section.
Yeah, I was gonna say you came out strong with Lion or Mr. Lionel Johnson, I gotta say, but right now I think he's the biggest smash so far. Mr.
Yeah.
Khan here.
I think I'd
Mr.
agree.
Khan. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about him. That I think it's a really neat function of him. When he grew up, the world he grew up was basically like a planet full of Genghis Khan like tribes and things like that, Mongols, the Huns, that kind of steez on that planet. And he united all of the tribes that have all these differing cultures by like essentially what Genghis Khan did a lot. And he was brutal where he needed to be, but in order to get camaraderie along all these different cultures, he moved them around and had them like intertwine with different other tribes, so that way they're more unified and everything like that. So like you still had your own culture, but you were also part of this broader culture as well, and getting to know everybody else. So, and that's how he ran the Great Crusade as well too. It's hard to hate this guy. It's really hard to hate this guy. And also, bro could fight. He's really good at that.
Yes.
I don't even remember who we have next. Oh, it's him! Leman Russ of the 6th Legion, the Space Wolves. Chat, do you like your men rugged? Because that's what Leman Russ is. He's a loyal, rabid, and brutal animal. A drunkard and a glutton. Real party person. The Emperor's executioner. He's he loves the loyal and fierce. He loves going out to a good feast, and he loves a good duel. He hates the weak and the contemplative. He hates psychers, and he hates being forced to conform to a standard. Leman Russ, I gotta be honest, there's actually not much written about this guy, which is crazy because he has his own fucking codex. Like, there was not a lot written about this guy. And it was really hard to find some W's for him. But basically what I got is that he was really instrumental in the Great Crusade. That's kind of my phoning in answer, but he was like I said, he's the Emperor's executioner. He was sent to get the job done on a lot of different planets that were difficult to comply with. So that's what he did. He at one point during the heresy, the Alpha Legion, which is another army and led by another Primarch that we'll be talking very much later in the stream, but was able to fend off an attack with them that nearly crippled his legion. Some of his biggest L's, and I like throwing this one around, is that he hit Leman Russ and the Lion. They fucking hated each other. They absolutely hated each other, and they got so mad at each other once that they had a duel, a punching, like they just boxed each other for 3 days straight. And eventually, Leman was like, "God, this is so silly. Why are we fighting? Like, why? Like, this is so funny that we're doing this." And the Lion heard Leman laughing, thought he was laughing at him, and then immediately headbutt his ass and knocked him out cold, winning the duel. Like, what a guy. And this is arguably one of the biggest L's in the setting. So we'll talk about it a little bit later once we get to Magnus. But the Emperor basically got really pissed off at Magnus and told Leman Russ, "I want you to go get Magnus and bring him back here, and he's going to face trial for what he did." And we'll get into that later. And Leman Russ is like, "Hell yeah, bro, let's fucking go. Yeah, fuck Magnus. I hate that nerd ass bitch." So on his way over to get Magnus and, getting his boys hyped up for the beatdown that they're going to do, Horus was like, "Actually, Magnus," and reminder, Horus is doing a heresy at this point. Horus is like, "Hey, Leman, actually, the Emperor wants you to go kill him. Kill him where he stands." And Leman Russ didn't fucking question it. He was just like, "Yeah, let's go kill that fucking nerd. I'm gonna wipe his teeth on my boots." That kind of shit. This guy's full on jock meathead. That being said, for me, full on pass. I don't like that kind of energy because he's not like a himbo. He's just kind of like a dick, and I feel like he'd last 2 seconds and then he'd like be mean to me afterwards.
Okay. I'm gonna give it to you straight. He's a dog guy. Likes to party, likes to hang out, likes to have fun. And also top trail drooster, Leman Russie, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, also, chat, if you're into it, furries, I'm just saying.
That's another big reason for me passing, but that's just a personal preference.
Fuck you. We love everyone here. So we're gonna hit what a smash.
No, I agree. I love everyone here, just not for me.
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Judd, what's your thought?
All right, I have a question.
Yes.
Does he possibly have the power to manipulate lightning? Can we introduce electroplay into this?
So he himself, he hates psychers, and stuff like that. Yet his own legion has their own versions of psychers called Rune Priest. Yes, it's a Norse-themed legion. GW's phoning it in. Yeah, here we are.
You see where I was going with this?
Yeah. He technically has psychic powers himself. I don't know if he's ever used lightning powers in the lore. StormKing, do you know?
I don't know I think his weapons are mainly ice themes.
Okay.
I don't know much about Leman Russie.
Yeah, I'm not really a Space Wolf guy, so it's mostly because the range hasn't gotten a refresh. The moment they get a refresh, I'll probably be like, "Ooh, those are pretty cool," and I might sing a different tune. But you know what, Judge? For the sake of debate, I'm saying yes. He's got electric powers.
That's fine. He doesn't need to. I was just curious.
Okay.
No, actually, I'm kind of, I'm actually thinking he might be more Reddit incel coded than the other guy was.
Wow.
That's a hot
Specifically
take.
because of the wolves. It's just screaming wolf t-shirt, bro. That dude has a whole closet of wolf t-shirts. I'm saying it right now.
You know what? You know what, Judd? +2. Houlihan, we will be talking about that comment later. Anyways, all right, moving on.
Wait, is that a pass
I think
from?
Oh yeah, we didn't get your answer.
I'm leaning towards pass.
Pass.
Yes,
All
it
right.
is.
You keeping up with the scores, good StormKing?
I don't know. Watch the stream. What do you see on the screen?
I don't look towards the stream. I look at chat because my people are what matters.
Yes, I'm keeping up with the score. Give me the next one.
I'm working on it.
Working on it, bro. It's 2 clicks.
Rogel Dorn! If you guys ever wanted to date a brick wall, well, I got good news for you. It's this guy. Stern, unyielding, pridefully vigilant, defiant, and thunderous zeal. He is the Emperor's will made manifest. He is turned on by the obedient and compliant. He's probably totally into BDSM too, if you're into that. And those who will do anything to get the job done. Turnoffs, the insubordinate, the churlish, those who harbor doubt and being unable to foster the imperial truth. Rogel Dorn is literally just like I said, the Emperor's will made manifest. If you wanted to copy paste and put lowercase on the Emperor, that would be Rogel Dorn. That's all that guy is. He's whole hoss into the Emperor's Great Crusade. He's totally into it, etc. That kind of shit. And that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get this stern military general guy, and that's what he is. His biggest W's is that he's the one who actually constructed the Imperial Palace, which is the greatest military bastion in all of humanity. It's that's it. He did that. And he was very instrumental during the defense of Terra, and he brought multiple of the traitor Primarchs to heel, including killing his brother Alfarius Omegon as well.
Allegedly.
We'll get to that. He actually fought. He actually got into the fight with Fulgrim at the end, and with that fight with Fulgrim is like, "Well, I can't win, and I'm bored. I'm so bored." And then he was like, "I'm gonna leave," and he's not because he's being, he didn't want to lose and being a sore sport. But Dorn's biggest L's is that eventually the Imperial Palace did fall to old Peter Turbo himself. The Rogel Dorn and Peter Turbo, they fucking hate each other. Actually, it's probably more one-sided hate at the beginning. Peter Turbo fucking hated Rogel Dorn, and Rogel Dorn's like, I don't care, I get the job done. But the moment Rogel Dorn lost to Peter Turbo, Rogel Dorn's like, wait, no, my pride, oh my god! And he nearly destroyed his entire legion hunting Peter Turbo.
Drez, thank you for the gifted sub.
And saved by Robute Gellerman himself in order to survive. And then eventually, later on, he was actually one of the last living Primarchs during the Heresy era before we transitioned into the more 40k side. And he got mega depressed because he, at this point, the Imperium was starting to fall to worshiping the Emperor, which is not what the Emperor wanted. And they were starting to regard the Primarchs as demigods. And Rogel Dorn himself was like, bro, we're not demigods. Don't even call us that. We failed him, etc. And he was so depressed and everything like that. And then he got murdered by a Chaos Thrall brand during one of the first Black Crusades. So, big L, Dorn, big L. That being said, instant smash for Rogaldorn. I've always wanted to fuck a brick wall. I know exactly how his sex is gonna go. It is gonna be ruthlessly efficient. It's gonna be exactly what I need to get to me exactly where I want, and it's gonna be done. And then we move on.
Pass. He's boring. Put him in the pain glove.
He's gonna put you in the pain glove.
Yeah, I don't want to be in the pain glove. Pass. He's boring.
You're just not a freak.
Won't somebody match my freak?
Yeah. Any questions, Judd?
Well, so you're saying so he constructed a palace. It looks like he's like kind of got this like architect-y vibe going on.
Yeah.
But also is like a really strong fighter.
Yeah, like honestly, the best way I can describe Rogaldorn is that if the military-industrial complex was a person, it would be him. So yes, that is exactly what. Yes, I can confirm that.
Okay, don't necessarily love that part about him, but what
Putrid
those hands,
soul, I swear to God.
What?
Sorry.
What those hands do, I'm saying smash.
Let's go, John. I didn't think I would have you on that one.
Funny
yes.
you should mention hands. Modern day, it might be just hand.
Oh yeah, he's only got one. He's only got most likely one hand at this point.
That's fine. He's probably just as good with it as he is with two.
Me thinks so too. I think he really dominates a room, the bedroom that is. Anyways,
so that's a smash from you, Judge.
Oh yeah.
All right. So far, Baron and I are both 4-2, and Judge is an even split 3-3. So.
Now this is interesting. I like this. This is fun. We got an even split here. Evenly split me, Rogaldorn.
Get to the next one.
Anyways.
Get to the next one. Yes.
We've learned we're on a timer.
Also, my boy.
You know what, StormKing? You take this one over. I've been talking too much. This is your boy.
Okay, I apparently have to read this also.
You don't have to read it. You could just...
I'm going to read it anyway because you worked very hard on it. Conrad Kurz, Primarch of the 8th Legion, the Night Lords. Oh, guys. All right, let me tell you. Apparently he's haunted, ruthless, savage, obsessed with death and judgment, the Night Haunter. But also, guys, he's really into arts and crafts. The compliant and fearful blind justice arts and crafts skinflake. You didn't have to put that part. Those devoid of sin. You know, he likes people following the rules, and he likes art. He's got long dark hair. So if you're into the goth vibe, come on. He doesn't like the insolent and lawless murderers, thieves, and his own legion and himself. But nobody's perfect. Who likes murderers anyway? Nobody. It's crazy. I don't get it. He's from Nostromo, so he's got a very, very nice accent. If you're into the thick, deep Russian accents. Apparently his biggest W's brought his entire home planet of Nostromo in line through terror and fear. Through terror and fear, he brought his entire planet in line, and there's no crime. It was literally like no crime at all. So, guys, he knows how to get stuff done. He waged a psychological war on 3 of his brothers to put them at each other's throats. So he knows how to command a presence. People want him. He also knows how to play a mean game of Among Us. So come on. Robbie Rotten looking at mods. Can we time out Houlihan? 24-hour ban permanently.
No, that's my wife.
Biggest L's when his homeworld of Nostromo fell back to deviance. He just fucking blew it up. I wouldn't say that's an L. He didn't like a planet falling back into ruin and bad stuff, so he just got rid of it. Got murked by an assassin after the heresy. No, he knew that. Oh God. You ever wanted to just be so right? You just accept things. Death has nothing compared to vindication, chat. Death has nothing compared to vindication. And Conrad Kurz, my beloved, he knows how to really stick it to the man. And that's what he did. Plus, guys, The armor that the Night Lords wear, super cool. If you like blue, if you like lightning, come on. You like bats? And you like goth baddies? Instant smash. Instant smash. I think I've made my point.
I think you did a good job, StormKing, and honestly, I'm not even gonna say anything because I think people know who Kurz actually is.
Yeah, I just explained who it is. Sounds like a dictator? They're all dictators. All these people suck.
Hey, that is a good point. They all suck. Honestly, in real life and not this fictitious sex-fueled life that I'm living right now, it would be passed for all of these fuckers. They're terrible people. But in my fun little fantasy mind, actually, I'm going to throw you a little bit of curveball here, StormKing. Smash for Conrad Kurz. And here's my reasoning. I imagine if they ever do anything media-related with Conrad Kurz, the perfect casting is going to be Robert Pattinson. And I've always wanted me some of that. So
he's already halfway there as the Batman. Look.
Exactly. He's literally just copy paste his Batman performance and make him a little more unhinged, like we know he can be. Instant smash. Sorry, instant smash. Houlihan, my dear loving partner in crime. Understand, this is a different persona that I'm cultivating here.
Also, can you just imagine? Look at him. He would, with his deep accent, you must bounce on it. Crazy style. Come on, chat. I
do really like this picture because the cloak being like blood and everything like that. It's really good. And I'm going to take this moment. I have a shout out section for the artists that I put in here at the end of this presentation, but Mauro Bellifante, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He did all of the art that we're showcasing here. And he's a 40K official artist. He also did a lot of stuff on Spider-Verse as well, too. Fantastic art renditions of the Primarchs and everything like that. Really, really liked it.
All right, Judge. Final call.
Well, it's interesting you brought up the cloak there, Baron. Because I'm going hard pass on this one.
You're wrong.
Yeah. Even in this fantasy, sexual horny thing we're trying to put on here, I don't think I could get past the fact that this dude is almost 100% into blood play.
No, that's fair, and honestly, it almost makes me want to change my answer, but I'm committed to the bit. Because Robert Pattinson being freaky. Honestly, let's be real here.
I applaud you, sir. You are more committed than I could ever be.
Let's be honest here. This is how this is gonna go. He's gonna. You guys aren't even gonna actually fuck on this date. He's gonna sit on the edge of the bed, like crying, being like, "My dad doesn't love me."
Okay, hold on. Okay. We're good, but we don't need all that. Chad, if it wasn't obvious, I know Baron is super biased towards the Dark Angels because he plays them. I play the Night Lords, and I really like them. So I'm just saying, if we're being biased here, fuck you. Anyway,
I'm still gonna keep my smash because I'm showing you some solidarity.
Okay. Anyone who said pass in chat, 24-hour ban permanently.
Those who read anything about this guy, they understand the allure of Kurz.
Give me the next one. I'm not in the right, apparently.
Oh, God's perfect little son, Sanguinius, of the Blood Angels. Noble and compassionate, resolute, pure in spirit, and also a bloodthirsty protector. So, Sanguinius was really hard to write about because, like, literally everybody, all of his brothers, even, like, most of the Traitor brothers really like Sanguinius, except for Kurz. Actually, Kurz probably didn't like Sanguinius. I think he's probably the only one. But even, like, Angron, who we'll get to actually very soon here, I think he's the next one. Angron, who is, like, known for being super angry. Good job, GW. Good naming scheme. It actually soothed, like, thinking about Sanguinius actually soothed him a little bit. He is God's perfect son. Like, that's what he is. He is beautiful, handsome, honorable, And like honestly, I think his turn-ons, he's just down. Like if he got to know you, and as long as it you weren't like a terrible person and trying to violate things that things that he would like to protect and everything like that, I think he'd get to know you and be like, you know what, you are my person, you are my turn on, everything about you turns me on. He would be dedicated, he's in for the long haul. Except he's dead. One of his biggest L's that he died super hard to Horus, and his death made his entire legion go crazy. And that's because one little known thing about Sanguinius is that he's got to drink blood. He's got this thing called the Red Thirst, which requires him to drink blood. And if he doesn't drink blood, he goes into this thing called the Black Rage, which makes him kill a lot of people. And his entire legion has that same genetic flaw. And when he died, it made his entire legion go insane, basically. So he drinks blood. He's a literal vampire, more than Kurz, even though Kurz had the more vampire imagery. Sanguinius is more of a vampire than Kurz. But his biggest W's is that he during that time where they had that second shadow government or whatever, he was the emperor for that, and he did a pretty good job with that. And then once he found out the emperor was still alive, he hauled his ass to the siege of Terra, and while he was there, he 1v1'd a greater demon of Khorne, which is crazy. And then he also fought his brother Angron and sent him back to the warp, because at that time Angron was a demon Primarch, and we'll talk about that soon. Does the romantic evening occur while he's blood crazed or not?
Only if you want it to.
Yeah, I would say either only if you want it to, or if you want to keep it like it. We'll let you guys decide. If you want a full experience of the Primarch, and you want it to be like, oh, you get the passionate Sanguinius towards the beginning, but towards the end when you're fucking, that he goes into Black Rage,
Jesus.
so you get the whole full picture.
When you're smashing, not fucking.
When you're boning.
Oh my god.
When you're going downtown to Pound Town.
What's your answer, Baron?
Easy smash.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, bro is literally handcrafted to be perfect. Like, if you say pass, you have no hope or whimsy in your life, because he's literally made to be smashed.
Also, feet for free, crazy.
Okay, well,
he's got them grippers out.
Yeah.
All right, Judge.
Well, it's interesting you make that comment, StormKing. Ha ha ha. No, I'm going smash. It's a smash.
Man of culture. Judge keeping it even down the middle.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Houlihan, if you want him to drink your blood during the deed, I mean, that's up to you, bro.
Oh, I'll message you after the joke that I was about to make. Anyway.
I know exactly what joke you're going to make, and I hate it.
Anyway.
Next up. Oh, okay. Angron's not next. It's Ferrus Manus of the Iron Hands, an industrious, intense person, a practical artisan, ruthlessly efficient. Does he sound very similar to other people we've talked about? Yeah. Good job, GW. But let's be real here. Ferrus Manus, he's different than Perturabo and honestly, in that degree, Fulgrim and all them in a certain way. Meaning, he's more kind of like, honestly, his personality's like a robot. He's like a computer. He's got these metal arms or whatever. Get it? His iron hands, his Ferrus Manus. Good job, GW.
Hey, stop doing that, because they make the stuff. They're gonna come after me.
It's all right. That's fine. They're okay. He probably likes long nights at the forge. He gives great head. I'll leave that joke simmer for a second. He probably hates weakness, frivolity, those unwilling to accept the Emperor's truth. He's a daddy's boy. He really liked the Emperor and shit like that. Some of his biggest W's, really hard to write. I'm gonna be honest, Judge. This guy was super fucking hard to write for. I sat here for hours because bro has nothing about him, like no lore about him. He just exists. he exists to die by Fulgrim's hand. He had a really good like broship with Fulgrim. Like they like made each other's weapons. Actually, in this picture here is a sword that he forged for Fulgrim, and then Fulgrim made a big hammer for him, and etc. His biggest L is honestly just one big L. He got his head chopped off by Fulgrim. You know, get it? Because he's like a Medusa. His nickname is the Gorgon. This shit's so funny. Bro has no head. I'm gonna pass because I just don't think he's into sex.
Honestly, I'm a quick pass. I do not like this Primarch.
Honestly, I feel like I'd be doing him a disservice if I said Smash. Like, I just don't think he's into it.
Now, hold on here. I don't think you guys are getting creative enough. Now, this man can live with no head.
He's not. He can't. He's dead.
He
is dead.
He is fully dead in the setting right now.
There's like 4 of these guys who are like dead. He is one of those 4. He is dead.
Yeah. When I say people are dead, they're dead. By the way, Conrad Kurz, he's dead.
We didn't have to say that. We didn't have to say that either.
Okay, I thought with the whole Gorgon Medusa thing, I thought we were leaning into, you know, he can just have a severed head and be like, fine.
Well, you're gonna be fucking him when he's alive, so he's gonna have his head. It's actually funny you say this. A big theory in the community for Warhammer right now is that he's gonna come back. When he comes back as a Primarch or whatever, he's gonna come back without a head and kind of be like a headless horseman kind of figure, that kind of thing. And there's this legion of space marines that exist as like a tall tale almost, called the Legion of the Damned. And they're like these space marines that come out of the warp and are like shrouded in fire, almost like Ghost Rider and shit like that, and just kill anything in sight. People think that he's going to be leading that legion, but that's probably going to be like 10 years from now. Like, let's be real here. I don't think anybody in GW's writers actually likes Ferrus Manus. He just needs somebody that likes him as a writer, and then maybe he'll get some popularity.
You know that scene from 2.5 Men where the 2 men are like debating, like, did we forget something? Well, if it wasn't that important, then we wouldn't have forgot it. And then it cuts to the kid being in the rain. That's Ferrus. No one cares about him. And saying this will get me banned from the Iron Hands subreddit, but I really don't care. Bro's boring.
It's all right. Nobody wants to go there anyways. I feel that they've really lost their heads over there.
Okay, now we're just hitting the low-hanging fruit again. Final answer, Judge. What is it?
All right. I'm going Smash.
You are insane.
Yes. I just want to play with the glowing sword. That's really all I want.
If that glowing sword is actually Fulgrim, so he doesn't have it anymore.
No, he'll get it back.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
With the glowing sword.
Actually, you know what? Since Ferrus Manus, we haven't dedicated enough time to Ferrus Manus here. Those iron hands, what do those iron hands do? I think he can like use them for like a lot of forging and stuff like that. I don't know. That could be fun in bed.
I'm not changing my answer. Yeah. I do not like this guy.
Can you give me a half point for smash and pass? Like a half smash, half pass?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Just keep my answer. That's fine. No, that's all right. All right, next up.
Swords. We love to see it.
All right, next up. We're at a little bit of an intermission, and we're going to do a little art showcase. Like we said, 40K is a big universe. There's a lot of things, and all of this lore exists to make these little doodads we make. StormKing here provided me some of his 4 favorite miniatures that he painted, and I just wanted to showcase because StormKing is a really fabulous miniature painter, and honestly, I'm going to be a little sappy. StormKing inspires me to paint better every day. Myself, because I'm more new in the hobby myself, and etc. So, StormKing, if you want to talk a little bit more about your models here, go ahead.
Hi. I knew this was happening, but an artist never likes their own stuff. I think these They don't look like crap, but I'm seeing the flaws, but it's fine, whatever. If you want to see all of my paintings, StormKing Paints on Instagram. This is a Dreadnought, my favorite kind of the Dreadnought. I don't like any of the new ones because they look too clean. I like the box. This is one of my Night Lords. Love the Night Lords. Chaos Knight, one of the factions that I really want to get playing because I have a couple and I think big robots are fun. And then these are a custom chapter, not my custom chapter, but called the Space Bears. If you want a closer look, they're on the Insta. I do like painting. I wish I could paint a little bit more, but now that I'm streaming and working, it's a little less often, but maybe I can get some painting streams up on maybe a Sunday. Just something chill, vibing. Y'all can kind of parallel work on stuff that you also need to. But yeah, I do a little bit of painting. It's not like it's time to quit work. So true. I'm almost there, Putrid. I'm almost there. But yeah, these are only a couple. I've got a lot of stuff because I just collect. I don't really buy to play. I buy to paint. So
yeah,
there you go.
Meanwhile, I buy mainly to play. I have a few little here. I'm getting there. So here's some of my favorites that I've painted over the last couple of years here. I will say not as good as compared to StormKing, who's been painting for a long time. And also most of mine are not even based yet. Oh my god, unprofessional, etc. But I like the process. It's very cathartic. It's really nice. Actually, on the right-hand side, you can see the upgraded Dreadnought version of what StormKing showed that StormKing actually likes better. I'm actually pretty evenly split between them. I like the old ones a lot, but I also like the new ones a lot too. I like how this one's got almost like stork-like legs. It's fun. I don't know. It's just an interesting design to me. The other ones are just other pictures of my Dark Angels. One of them being the one on the left there being an Inner Circle companion. He's one of the ones that I've actually finished, and then I have a whole squad of a bunch of others that I'm currently actively still working on. And then I just have a little duder that I'm very proud of. It's actually the first face that I ever painted, rather than just a helmet. So I was really proud of that. He is the sergeant of my intercessors, which are my basic troops. So I pull him around, and actually he's a full kit bash too. So he's not an actual model that you'd assemble pre-packaged. He's actually a couple different kits combined together, but not a crazy amount. Probably 2 or 3 kits combined together. And then up top are some of my favorite models that GW has put out, and I had a really fun time painting these guys. Because as you can see, primarily their armor is this white bone color, and that was really difficult and something that I haven't really done a lot of. And it's actually my first time really diving into painting cloaks and things like that. And I think I did all right for my first time. And I'm currently trying to improve on those methods that I'm learning right now with my Inner Circle companions and blah 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 blah. More art to come. I don't have a Instagram that you can follow where I have art, but maybe I'll get one in the future if people like that. So here we are.
Baron Ultra Paints.
Baron Ultra Paints is the name I came up with in my head if I ever decide to do it.
Nope, I came up with it.
Okay, copyright StormKing VT. But if anybody wants that, just let me know and maybe I'll do it. All right. Now with that, we go on to our next Primarch.
They sound like that. Oh, because
what do you mean you lost the Primarchs? Go find them. So, you're probably wondering at the beginning of the stream here, we had those error messages and stuff like that. That's because I originally said there are 20 Primarchs. There's actually only 18. There used to be 20. There used to be 20, but 2 of them have been expunged from Imperial Record for doing things so horrid that they you literally can't find anything about them. So I just put in little meme jokes.
You know how Pokemon has name the first Pokemon, and then there's the first in the Pokedex, and then there's the first one they made, and the first in the lore. It's kind of like that, where there's 20 Primarchs, but then there's also kind of technically 19, but also kind of there's technically 18. So Or
Yeah,
21
it's-
even.
Yeah, so it made making this whole entire project really fun for me. Next Primarch. Who is this one? Is this Angron? Angron!
There he is.
Angron of the World Eaters. I think before he became the World Eaters, he was the Imperial Hounds or something like that.
Hounds of the Emperor, I believe. I think.
Hounds of the Emperor or Warhounds. I don't remember. But he hated that, so he changed it to the World Eaters because he didn't want to be a dog enslaved to the Emperor, and that's because of Angron's background. He was at a planet that was essentially, he went through the entire plot of Gladiator, except it didn't really go very well. And when he tried to rebel, he got these things called the Butcher's Nails put into him. And all they do is like make it so he gets dopamine for being angry, and he gets pain for being anything else other than angry. So he's pretty much borked from the get-go, and like he's just real angry at all the time. But before that, he had a devout sense of honor. He really appreciated people that like engaged them like one-on-one and everything like that, and were true to themselves, that kind of thing. He really loved people who are reliant, who are worthy. He'd probably really like a trip to one of those rage room things. That'd be really fun for him. And he loves honorable combat. He hates the cowardly, those who desert his friends and family. And I mean, he was basically a slave when he grew up, so he hates slavery or things being forced against his will. Honestly, Angron is actually a really tragic character in the story if you read a lot of his stuff. And it sucks that things go on that way. And when he met the Emperor, his rebellion was going on in full force, and the Emperor was like, "Hey, I need you to join my Great Crusade now." And he was like, "No, I need to help stay with my people or die with them trying." And the Emperor's like, okay. So he abducted him against his will, against the eve of their greatest battle, and all of his friends got slaughtered. It's terrible. It's terrible. The Emperor sucks. Basically, the Emperor's like, I don't need some like rebellious person or whatever. I need my Primarch. I need my son or whatever. I need a general for my crusade. And Angron's like, you're going to have a ghost of a son. And the Emperor's like, a ghost shall suffice. I hate that. It makes me sad every time I hear about it. But saying that, like, he had some really big W's there. He during the heresy, because he obviously went traitor because he hated the Emperor, and he went with Horus. He was instrumental in keeping the Ultramarines at bay during a Shadow Crusade that they had, so Horus can do his inner machinations and things like that. I misspelled something in this presentation. Laugh at this user. He's actually currently in the universe proper now. He went into a demonic form, and he is a consistent, relevant threat in the galaxy right now. And just constantly running around, raging, and doing what he does best, killing people. His biggest allies would obviously be the Butcher's Nails, and they were the biggest thing that led him to eventually become a demon. And honestly, he had a lot of big L's against a lot. He's kind of like GW's punching bag when it comes to big threat enemies a little bit. Like, they're so like, if you want to show like, oh, this character that we want to push models for or something like that, like we want to show how cool they are. Like, all right, let's put him up against Angron and have him win. So Angron takes a lot of big losses against stuff, even though he's like really successful most of the time, but because of the narrative, he has to lose. Like, for example, recently Lionel Johnson came back, and the first thing he did when he came back was fight Angron in his demon form and win. So that's just another example of that.
Bro is also forgetting that in Arcs of Omen, Angron has the biggest dub for him. He manages to like destroy a very important thing for the Imperium, and bro really kills it. So you put some good shit on his name. How dare you?
Hey, he does a lot of good stuff, but he also just fails at a lot of good stuff. And honestly, I didn't get too deep into the Arcs of Omen storyline.
Wow.
So I try to focus around stuff around the heresy or close to it for the theming, so that's just where I'm at. And then you're supposed to come in nicely and fill in the blanks.
Continue.
Anyways, Angron's a smash for me. I think as Houlihan put it, I can fix him.
Yes. Chat. Gladiator, pretty good. That whole aesthetic. He's a dog kind of guy. Look, see.
Yeah, he's got his little dog there.
And there's a reason that hate smashing is sometimes just a thing that people want to try out. So it'll be an intense one, but since we're coming out alive on the other end, you won't be able to walk for a little bit, but hey, sometimes that's like the best part. So smash for me.
And for me, I'm getting really big Karlach vibes.
Ooh, okay.
That's a good comparison. That is a really good comparison, actually, John.
Right?
From the vibes, but personality-wise.
Personality, not so much, but the vibes, yes.
Yeah, mainly the vibes. But for that reason, I think I'm going to smash.
Let's go.
Let's go. Angron was also kind of difficult to write about because I just didn't know where to start. Because, there's, two different facets of him. There's how he was on the planet before he got the Butcher's Nails, and then how he is after the Butcher's Nails, and then how he is as a demon Primarch. Now, I'm going to add this. We don't have to score this one. Would you smash him as a demon Primarch?
Probably even more.
I probably would pass out on it. I don't think I'm built for that.
Bro literally smashed a demon so hard with a metal bar that it turned into a sword. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is a legitimate thing that happened. His model, I don't have the picture for it here, but his model has, he's got wings on his model. The wings look like they're biceps. They look like bicep.
Bro is strong.
He is strapped.
Anyway, we got 15 minutes for this round.
Okay. We're going. We're cooking with gas. We're going to start screaming after this guy. I apologize in advance for the low quality of this image. I looked so hard and far to find this image a higher quality, and I couldn't. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Anyways, we're talking about Bobby G. Bobby G, he's our resident blueberry and
Say his name at least right once.
Robute Gilliman. I've said it enough. He is the strategic, indomitable will. He is logical. He's diplomatic. He's a statesman. If you're getting Julius Caesar's vibes from him, yes, that's exactly what they want to impart on him. He is analytical. He loves the analytical, the rational. He'd probably play a bunch of Paradox 4X games. Raptor, I know you're into that. Empire building, studying. Turnoffs, the disorderly, inefficient, dogmatic, and he actually, you'd think he'd be oh, I love bureaucracy. I love filing papers. He actually hates that shit. He hates rigid bureaucracy. He likes an efficient bureaucracy. He wants to empire build. He doesn't want to go out there and crusade or anything like that. He wants to govern. He wants to lead, and that's what he wants for his legion as well. He wants them to be senators, diplomats, and everything like that. That's what he wants for his people. This guy is honestly probably the poster boy. Him and his legion are the poster boys for Games Workshop. He's got a lot of W's, a lot of L's. It's hard to pick just one or two that I limited myself here for him. But he is literally the most successful Primarch in terms of rebuilding the Imperium because he is back in the setting now. And he's currently fighting wars on all fronts in order to reunite the Imperium right now, and is mega depressed while doing it because he's seen what the Imperium has turned into, this religious, horrible bloat of a corpse, basically, and he doesn't want that, but he knows that he has to do that, otherwise he doesn't have his fighting force in order to bring it together. He came back 10,000 years later, and everything like that after his fight with Fulgrim, after he got poisoned, and some of his biggest L's. He's definitely the worst duelist out there, but he there's so many losses of him just like in the lore of him just losing to his other brothers like all the time and usually having to be saved by either another brother or like somebody else equally as powerful. And a big thing we talked about it a little earlier, but like this whole Shadow Crusade thing happened, and that really screwed up like the support the Imperium needed, because the Ultramarines next to the Dark Angels were the biggest force in the on the loyalist side of the Imperium, so it really fucked things up for him. Robuti Gulliman, one thing that I'm gonna have to note about him is that in his currently now being alive in the setting, in the 40k setting, he has to wear his big bulky armor, otherwise he dies. So yes, the armor has to stay on during sex. That being
Partially retconned, I think.
Is it partially retconned now?
I think I've heard it was partially retconned. I don't know for sure.
I'm choosing to believe that the armor stays on during sex.
Okay, fair.
And that being said, smash. I would smash Robuti Gulliman because I think he's a very well written character, even though it's a little tiring hearing about him and his Ultramarines all the time. I want to hear about different aspects of the setting and his other brothers more. Like hell, throw Ferrus Manus a book. But here's the thing about being the most written about Primarch. You're gonna have some good writers, and I think I don't know. I like him. He's a compelling character. Smash.
Honestly, I don't really have much to say. He's boring, but not. He definitely is. He has good vibes. I know we're really trying to stick with like heresy versions, but modern day Gilman is just kind of the more prevalent one in my mind. He's cool. He does have like more convincing writing. So honestly, I think I need my taxes done well sometime. So that'll be a smash. That'll be a smash.
Missionary with mood lighting.
Yeah, at least the lights aren't on and the socks come off, but the Armor of Fate cannot. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad you two are there for him, because this dude is just screaming their white bread to me.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you need that.
No, not in this universe. I don't. I'm looking for eccentric to an extent. I'm going pass.
All right.
Oh, Bobby G, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Bobby G.
Man.
Sorry, you do not get a rose tonight, Bobby G.
he'll probably take it with grace and humility though.
Oh no, he'd be super nice, and he'd probably like get drinks with you later.
And also, he's got a brain, so he doesn't need us.
Yeah, he doesn't need us. He's massively shipped with an Eldar baddie in the setting. I don't know why, but they are. So
they
yeah,
talked, and that's what Warhammer fans think is how you talk to women.
Well, here's the thing: when everything's so grimdark all the time, you kind of the shipping community is gonna latch onto something, and you know what? There you go.
All right, give me the next one. We got 9 minutes.
Yeah, 9 minutes for this one. Yeah, this round. 13th Legion.
14th.
Okay. Sorry, nope. I can't put my bias on here. Mortarion of the Death Guard. Resentful, prideful, determined, bitter piece of shit. No, sorry, not piece of shit. Prince of Decay. He's turned on by the resilient and the relentless. He hates gossip, he would love gossiping about his deep-seated grievances, because he had a lot of them. He hated most of his brothers, if not all of them. He hated the Emperor, and he loves those who are not afraid to suffer to get what they want. He hates the weak, the hypocritical. He hates the Emperor, and he hates the Psychers. Simple as. Mortarion, he kind of grew up on a nasty little plague planet full of tyrants and shit like that, and his whole thing was like, and his adoptive father was a tyrant himself, and his whole thing is like, he wanted to kill his dad. He wanted to kill his adoptive dad, and he was so persistent at doing it. He kept doing that. By the time the Emperor came along, Emperor was like, yo, stop trying to kill your adoptive dad. I'm your real dad. Let's go kill some other bitches. And he's like, no, I'm staying here, and I'm going to kill my adoptive dad, and you're going to let me. And Mortarion's like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. And to the point where he tried to kill him so hard that he almost died, and his adoptive dad didn't die. So the Emperor was like, all right, this is stupid. And then he went and killed his adoptive dad. And then Mortarion's like, I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. Kill stealing son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. And then he kind of harbored that grievance for the rest of his life. Despite all that, and like that picture I painted about him, Mortarion was very effective and very short of words and could kind of get what he wanted. The biggest thing was, after the Librarius chapter was set up by Sanguinius, Jagatai Khan, and Magnus, there's eventually this thing called the Council of Nicaea, which actually was talking about getting rid of the Librarius chapter and abolishing it. So this council had a debate, and it was Mortarion's words that swayed them to get rid of the Psykers and those in the Librarius out of their chapters, etc. So the Emperor took that, citing their dangers and actually giving them fact-based evidence. Council of IKEA is right, Dress King.
+2,
+2. That's a good one. One thing that I read about, and I actually didn't know about this until I did research about him. I don't know all the details because I was on a time crunch and I need to get some shit done. But after the heresy was done and over with, and like Mortarion, he also ascends into this big, ugly demon Primarch of putrid flesh. He went to Nurgle and stuff like that, and he's got like ugly moth wings and shit. He actually went toe-to-toe with Perturabo. Perturabo being one of the best strategic commanders of all of the Primarchs. He went toe-to-toe with them and actually won against Perturabo, which is very impressive if you understand exactly what levels both of them were on. So Perturabo had to, eat his own foot and had to retreat. So I think that's pretty cool. Biggest L's, honestly, it really just kind of comes down to he hates hypocrisy, but he's also a big fucking hypocrite himself. He lost super hard against Jagatai Khan and showcased his own hypocrisy because he turned into a demon Primarch and he hates the warp. He hates because that's why the people on his adoptive home planet, like why he hated them. They all used warp powers and stuff like that, and they were doing demon shit. And he turns into a demon Primarch and he's a failure, etc. And all that stuff. And Jagatai Khan kind of just like owns him. He's just like, he literally just says like, you made your bed, now you have to go fucking lie on it, idiot. And then he runs away and is able to escape. That kind of thing. So Mortarion is an instant pass. I don't like this guy. This guy, you know how we were talking about your Reddit incel atheist stuff? I think he's pretty close to it. And yes, Houlihan, he probably fucking stinks like hell. He is one of those people who is always right, and no matter what you say, you're wrong. If you were to have sex with him, he would tell you that you yourself had a good time, and if you said, actually, you could improve on these things, he'd be like, nope, that doesn't make sense, and actually, you suck, and then he'd leave.
4 minutes, Baron. 4 minutes.
Yeah, I know. You're up.
Yeah, he's the champion of Nurgle. Nurgle smells. He smells really bad, and he's constantly blowing those smoke clouds in your face. He will gaslight you. Instant pass. Like, it's not even a debate.
He totally vapes.
Yeah, I think for all of those reasons, I'm also going to pass, and then I'll add this one on top of it. This dude looks like the Jared Leto of the Warhammer universe.
That's such a good comparison. Holy shit.
That's good.
I will say in this picture, he is aura farming, but like not in like attractiveness ways, I can read Roman. Oh, my boy Magnus. All right. I'm going to be a little cringe on main.
That dude
here.
is red.
He do be red. I could talk about Magnus and do all that steez, but I decided to get a little bit more creative with it, and I think I'm gonna sing about Magnus.
What? You didn't tell me this part.
Any Skyrim enjoyers in chat?
What the heck?
Okay.
Does anybody know a ditty called Ragnar the Red?
Bro, it's a 15-second delay. Don't.
I don't know Skyrim that well.
There once was a Primarch called Magnus the Red, who with psychic powers his legion he led. From the 1,000 sons a formidable force, but his thirst for knowledge led him off course. Oh, you talk and you fight, but you lie through your teeth. For the Crimson King in the Iron Terror his sleeps, with a quest for the
I don't know.
warp,
He's going off
the heart of
script.
light, and now the galaxy burns from his might. I have other lyrics, but that's all I'm doing.
Thank you.
Honestly, +2 claps in chat.
Pass.
Oh, Finn, you jerk!
Can you tell us who hyperfixation at this moment in time or a project in Skyrim?
I've been a little obsessed with Skyrim lore as of late. I've been watching it as I go to bed. Like it's actually a big problem. But anyways, Magnus the Red, he is our resident nerd of all the Primarchs, and like he's studious and he loves his magic psychic bullshit. He has a quest for knowledge, and he's mystically inclined, and honestly, it kind of screws him over a little bit. But his turnage, he loves the knowledgeable and the curious. I spelled curious wrong. I wrote curios. That is fucking crazy. He would probably really like a night looking at the stars or peering into the warp, and those who seek enlightenment in all forms. Turn off would be, of course, the ignorant, the stagnant, anybody who wants to restrict psychic abilities, which there are several of his brothers that hate psychic abilities. And even the Emperor himself did not tell his his sons about chaos. And Magnus over here is like, well, what if I went and started exploring chaos? That'd be cool. What could go wrong? But he also hates close-mindedness. Honestly, if you write things about Magnus Red, his W's and L's can go just based on your perspective. But despite he wanted to become a demon prince because it honestly helped with his ultimate apotheosis, that kind of thing. However, it did end up dusting his entire legion. So his legion are all a bunch of suits of armors with chaos warp dust. He established the planet of sorcerers in the warp and actually has a lot of clout within the demon community, as you would say, out there right now. His biggest L is, how I mentioned earlier how Lehman Russ had to go like curb stomp his ass because he did a big fucky wucky? Well, that big fucky wucky was the Emperor's big project to get humanity away from using the warp, also known as hell, as faster than light travel. And he actually was creating his own webway, which would be a safe way for humanity to travel the stars. And the webway being something that the Eldar use, that not only the Eldar can use, because they're attached to it, essentially. But the Emperor had a project for that, and Magnus fucked it up. So Emperor's like, bring me him right now. He's in big trouble. I'm going to ground him for 2 weeks. And then Horus is like, you should kill him instead. And Lehman Russ was like, oh boy. And there we are. And now his entire legion is dust. Magnus, so I'm a little biased on this guy too. He's actually my second Primarch because I have 2 armies. I have this guy and the Dark Angels. I have Thousand Sons. I haven't built a lot of those or painted. I built like a couple of them, but I haven't even painted them yet. They're a back burner project, so I'm not too married to Magnus. So I gotta say, like, there's a lot of in the community stuff saying like, Magnus is actually he didn't really do anything wrong, blah blah blah. No, he did some very key things wrong. Basically, the Emperor's like, hey, you shouldn't explore into this. You don't know what you're talking about. And Magnus is like, well, I'm going to do it anyways and prove you wrong. And then he did it, and he really, really fucked things up. And it was bad. So I just think he'd be insufferable to be with. He wouldn't listen to you. He's just head in the clouds, etc. So he's actually a pass for me. That's crazy. Really? You didn't think I'd pass that?
I did not. Chad, I'm gonna give it to you real. He's a nerd, so he's definitely going to want to talk about his stuff. Chad, one thing about me, I love when people are so passionate and are like just yapping about their hyper interest. Like right now,
you
when
hated Perturabo.
he's weird. I don't like Perturabo.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
He's
fair.
mean about it. Magnus
Yeah,
just like wants to talk about like magic. He's kind of a little silly, goofy. He's pooky coded. He'll do like a little magic trick, and then he'll read a book, and then he'll tell you about his favorite book. And he just wants to be smart. And I value that. I like listening. I wanna hear all about it. I want to hear all about the warp and everything that you've done. And we can move past the fact that most of your sons are literally Alphonse Elric in Full Metal, where he's just empty suits of armor, but this time with space dust. It's a smash for me.
Yeah, I could probably be convinced to smash, but Houlihan really put it in perspective for me. It reminds Houlihan of Solus from Dragon Age, and I hate Solus with a burning passion. So it's big pass.
All right, Judge, what you think?
Oh, I'm going smash for this one.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's all right. I can take an L.
I'm liking the knowledgeable and curious. That tells me that he's probably knowledgeable and curious about all the things you'd want him to be knowledgeable and curious about.
That's a fair point.
And on top of that, what those psychic abilities do.
Literally anything and everything.
They do a lot.
Exactly.
They do a lot. Right now in the game, like 10th edition, he actually has a model now in his Demon Primarch form. His model is an instant pick for the army and literally carries the entire army. And usually when you have armies like that, they don't do very well on the tournament scene. But no, they fucking own anyways. They're really good. So yes, that magic does everything.
Also, he's got wings. I'm a sucker for bird wings.
Yes, he does have wings in his demon form. Yep. And honestly, the model's really sick. I recommend you guys look it up. It's a really cool model.
Spend $200 to buy it.
It's very expensive. It's why I don't own it myself yet. But anyways, next Primarch. All right, who are we on? 16? Is that Lorgar? I think that's Lorgar.
I don't know. No one could find out.
Oh no, it's Horus Heresy himself.
Please, Mr. Heresy is his father. Call him Horus.
Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, his last name is not Heresy. It's Lupercal, Horus Lupercal. His legion was the Luna Wolves. He actually has a bunch of different legion names over the course. During the Great Crusade, it's the Luna Wolves, and then during the Heresy, he actually renames them to the Sons of Horus. And then eventually, once, spoiler alert, Horus gets control deleted from the entire universe, it becomes the Black Legion. But honestly, for the guy who's supposed to be the incarnate of evil for this galactic civil war, the chaos bastion, essentially, he was very charismatic. He was extremely empathetic. He was calm, collected. He was prudent. I'm trying not to regurgitate what's on screen here, but like the guy had an extremely level head, and he had a lot of social emotional intelligence. That's the words I'm looking for. And honestly, it's really difficult to find a kind of like Sanguinius. It's really difficult to find a Primarch that didn't like him or didn't confide in him to a certain degree. And that's why he was chosen as War Master. He was the Emperor's favorite son, and that's kind of what makes the Horus Heresy tragic, because Horus was noticing the stuff that the Emperor did, and then there was this plot in the shadows, and we'll get into that in a little bit here, going on to kind of expose Horus, this bastion for the Emperor, to the ruinous powers and everything like that. And it ended up working, and that's kind of where it went. And Horus used a lot of that emotional intelligence to get a lot of those other Primarchs on his side. He actually really wanted to get like other Primarchs on his side as well too, like Sanguinius, for a matter of fact. He was actually trying to manipulate Sanguinius in the shadows to get his entire legion dedicated to Khorne at one point. because they have this whole red thirst thing going on. So he is a very interesting character. He is the most decorated Primarch during the Great Crusade. He was the figurehead of the heresy and everything like that. But some of them have L's, and honestly, one of his biggest L's was the Battle of Isfahan 3, not to be confused with the Battle of Isfahan 5. Isfahan 3 was basically a purging of all of the traitor Primarchs' legions of people who were still loyal to the Emperor. And while he was ultimately successful at doing that, some of those loyalists were able to get away and warn the Imperium of the heresy, and actually showed Horus's hand a lot sooner than he would rather like. So that actually was a big downfall for Horus. And then, as I mentioned earlier, he was straight up Control-Alt-Deleted. The Emperor killed him so hard that his soul doesn't exist in the universe anymore, and he's just gone. He doesn't exist because the soul is a real thing in the warp, and he's just gone. He's dead, Jim. That being said, I would smash the fuck out of this guy. Look at him. Look at him. Oh my god. That is beefcake. Anyways, StormKing, anything else you'd like to add?
There's not much to add. Bro is him. Look at this aura. He led the entire heresy. Bro has so much going, and he's just a charming individual. Look at him. He's got that thick chin. He knows how to talk. Again, emotionally, very smart. Will listen to you. Will talk to you. Everybody likes this guy.
Yeah.
And the only reason that he turned bad was because daddy issues. And
daddy issues
sometimes
and a little bit of
that just helps. That's a little bit of a bonus to me sometimes.
Yeah, daddy issues and some little shitters in the background trying to sabotage you, as well too. And we'll get into those little shitters in a second here. But honestly, I think the most tragic thing about Horus is right at the end, in the moment right before the Emperor killed him, the ruinous powers released their grip on Horus, and he immediately understood what he did was wrong, and he was a failure, and then he was deleted. And I think that's just real tragic.
Spoilers for the latest Horus Heresy book. Not the most if you're gonna read it, but
nobody's gonna read that shit. Did you see the reading order?
I do. I read those. I like those books. Anyway,
that's
smash. Easy smash.
Easy smash.
Judge.
Oh yeah, it's a big easy smash. We love ourselves an emotionally intelligent king who knows how to stand up for what's right, or at least what they believe is right. And I mean, just look at that face.
Mm-hmm.
That demeanor's like, hey, I know what I'm about.
Hell
exactly. Also,
it's like, you want some of this. I know you want some of this. What are we?
Let's not waste our time here.
Yeah. And also, the size of that wolf's head on his shoulder is the size of his bicep. Oh my god!
Like, these guys are like 12 feet tall, so that's a big wolf.
That's a big wolf. That's a big bicep.
That's a big man.
My gosh. So, yeah. Hold on. I gotta plug in my fucking headset.
This guy.
I'm so professional. Keep this in the edit. Oh god. Edit. Oh god. Okay. All right. We're here. We're back. Okay. Who's next?
Why do you ask who's next? Just click the next one.
I don't know.
Oh.
It's Lorgar. Lorgar Aurelian of the Word Bearers. I think his legion had a different name before it was Word Bearers as well, but I actually don't remember what it was, and it doesn't matter. He is our good, devout, pious child, son of the Emperor, and he's philosophical, passionate, and all he wants to know is the truth. Houlihan, what the fuck?
Based.
That was the quickest pass ever.
Based.
He loves the pious and the introspective. Houlihan. Oh my God, he would probably love going to church. He likes the advancement of mankind through divinity. He hates people who are unreflective, atheistic. You know, that's probably honestly that's a big turnoff for me as well. No, not me. I'm not saying atheists are a turnoff for me. I'm saying him hating atheists is a turnoff for me. But he doesn't like the imperial truth because, like I said earlier, that's like the thing that humanity is akin to gods. They're the best or whatever. And Lorgar believed that there's always a higher something out there. And that kind of goes back to how he's brought up and everything like that. He came, I think the world he went on was the world of Kolkis is what it's pronounced as. And basically that entire planet was already kind of worshiping chaos in a certain degree, but like not necessarily the bad aspects of chaos, like the good aspects of chaos. Like just for example, I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into debate of the divine or anything like that, but like for example, Nurgle is like the god of pestilence, but he's also the god of rebirth and everything like that. So each of the chaos gods has also a good side to it, so they kind of there's a lot of that stuff going on. There he had an abusive as hell adoptive father. Are you seeing a trend here? Are we seeing a trend here? I think we're seeing a trend here. He had a really abusive father who all he wanted to do was get more power on this planet and take control of the ruling theocracy called the Covenant there. And eventually that did happen. Lorgar, obviously he's a Primarch. He easily bodies anybody who'd challenge him, that kind of thing. And Lorgar was like, these four gods that we worship, they're cool and all, but there's got to be a god who rules them all, and that is the person that we dedicate our worship to. I just know he's out there. And then the Emperor's like, hey, I'm looking for a son, and showed up at their door. And Lorgar's like, I will worship you for fucking ever. Prostrating behind his hands and knees and everything like that. The Emperor didn't like that because Lorgar was really bad at conquering worlds. He sucked in the Great Crusade. And that's because when he conquered a world, he would try to convert them into worshiping the Emperor. And when the Emperor found out about that, the Emperor was like, hey, you're not allowed to like God or worship me as a god. That's really cringe. So to punish you, I'm going to kill everybody on your most prideful planet here, Monarchia. This planet here, the people who are the most devout, I'm just going to murder them all. Because you're not going to be resentful. I'm teaching you a lesson. And Lorgar is like, hey, that kind of sucked. Hey, that really sucked. Lorgar was like, you know what? The Emperor doesn't want to be worshipped. Let's go back to the Chaos Gods. So he starts worshiping the Chaos Gods. That kind of starts it all off because Lorgar has these two little shitters that he keeps in his legion. His abusive father, what's his name? Corfarion, I think. Is that right? Corfarion, yeah, Corfarion. And the biggest shitter of them all, Erebus. There's a constant meme in the community on like who started the Horus Heresy, and 9 times out of 10 you're gonna land at Erebus.
Fuck Erebus. All my homies hate Erebus. Erebus is the worst person ever.
Yeah, Erebus is the worst. He's stinky and he sucks. But he is the one with Lorgar's backing set in the plot to get Horus corrupted by chaos, which really started the heresy in Trust. So there's a lot of arguments on who started the heresy. I mean, you can argue that the Emperor started it for being such a bad dad, or whatever, but Lorgar and his word bearers, his two little shitters that he had, really started the heresy. So that's one of his biggest W's. And honestly, another big W is that he won, full stop. If there was a winner out of the heresy, it would be him. Because now, in the current millennia, the humanity worships the Emperor as a god, and that's what Lorgar wanted to begin with. Lorgar won, full stop. They're a dogmatic cult who worships the Emperor. some of his biggest L's. You know, I had mentioned it, the destruction of Monarchia, and actually his legion, after the heresy ended, all the loyalist Primarchs that survived or whatever, they went on this thing called the Great Scouring, basically just killing every heretic in sight and having them flee. The Word Bearers took the big brunt of that because they were like one of the biggest forces remaining on Terra. So like most of him, like he's been out of commission for a while, so that's a big L for him. So here's my thought process on Lorgar.
Oh,
And
God.
StormKing knows this about me already. I actually really like Lorgar, and I think that's just something about me. I like gravitate to the characters that are like really devout and stuff like that, or worship gods and things like that. Like for example, in Dungeons and Dragons, I like playing clerics or paladins and things like that. I'm obsessed with the divine. In the campaigns I make myself, I always make sure there's a full pantheon of gods or stuff like that. I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff. All Lorgar wanted to do was find the truth. And I'm going to read a little quote from Lorgar because I've seen people in chat are not really liking Lorgar, and I know what StormKing was. So I'm just gonna lead one little quote that really sells Lorgar on me. All I ever wanted was the truth. Remember those words as you read the ones that follow. I never set out to topple my father's kingdom of lies from a sense of misplaced pride. I never wanted to bleed the species to its marrow, reaving half the galaxy clean of human life in this bitter crusade. I never desired any of this, though I know the reasons for which it must be done. But all I ever wanted was the truth. And that is what makes him so compelling to me. So with that, I'm going to say smash, mostly because if I give him a good boning, he's going to worship me like a god.
Jesus Christ.
StormKing, you're up.
Chat, it's really, real easy. I don't have religious trauma. I'm agnostic. I don't really care for that. He's gonna be the person who comes to your door. Hey, would you like to hear about the Emperor? And you'll be like, oh no, no, thank you. And then as you close the door, boosh, big hand on the door. Yes, you do. And then he's going to sit there and he's going to talk to you about it, and you don't want to listen, and he's not going to leave until he's done, and then he's going to make you take the pamphlet, and I'm not interested. Hard pass. Plus, why is bro wearing the biggest pauldron in this picture? his casual pajamas and the biggest pauldron. What are you doing, man?
No, that is an observation that both StormKing and I made, I think last night it was, when we were going over the presentation and everything like that. Yeah, that is a weird. Why is he doing that?
Do not like him.
I do like. I like the bald look with the little tats up top. I think those are cool though.
Nope. Judge.
I know you don't like it.
No, I mean, kind of echoing your points. You know, you had me at the religious nut. This is a hard pass for me.
I know.
You know, I ain't about the life. You know.
Yeah, I get it. See, I also had various religious trauma, but I've taken it and molded it into being my own thing. And like I have a certain how do I say it? Like a certain sympathy for those who like that, as long as they're not being terrible. But you know, we're talking about the Primarchs here, so they're all terrible.
Not even the Primarchs, the one who's in charge of the chaos like faction.
Yeah.
Bro's skinning people and turning them into books while they're still alive.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. So if I caught Lorgar before he went off the deep end, I easily can fix him. Like now, Lorgar, probably not. It would probably be an actual pass for me, but you know, I got to commit to what I said. So it's smash it is.
Give me my next one.
Give me my dish.
I hate this guy.
I think he's such a compelling character, though.
What do we got?
Big news for Houlihan!
This guy
we
Fox.
got Vulcan, the biggest of all the Primarchs. He is tall, he is muscular, he is compassionate, patient, protective, and kind. He's also a skilled artisan and craftsman because GW really likes to do that for their Primarchs for some reason.
They're warmongering generals. They have to be.
Something like that. I don't know. He loves the hardworking, the supportive. He probably really enjoyed long days of work followed with comforting nights with family. He has an intense moral compass. He hates the cruel and the violent, those with wanton disregard of human life. His disloyal brothers of the heresy, he really hates. Like it really deeply affected him that his brothers would do that. It really impacted him. Because honestly, Vulcan is that one brother or like that one friend that you have that like, you know, he really is the glue of a lot of stuff. He's like, why are we all fighting? Like, come on, that kind of thing. That is really Vulcan to a T. But he's also extremely brutal when he has to be, especially against the cruel and the violent. He will destroy them with fire. That is this whole thing. Fire, melts the weapons, all that shit. Some of his biggest W's during the heresy is that like at one point he gets captured by Kurz because him and his legion were a part of the drop site massacre. But Kurz actually tortured him for like years, like a lot of years. I don't remember how many years it was. But like it was a lot of fucking years, and like just emotionally tortured him, physically tortured him. And Vulcan like didn't break at all. Like one thing also about Vulcan, he's also what's called a perpetual in the setting, meaning that he's functionally immortal. So when you kill him, he can come back. But it's sometimes it takes a while. Like it takes a while for his atoms to regenerate and things like that. But he's persistent. But, you know, he basically survived all those years of torture at Kurz, was able to goad Kurz into just dueling him one-on-one, beat Kurz's ass.
All right, let's calm down.
He fucking wiped the floor with Kurz, let me tell ya. And then he escaped. But then that leads us into another big L over here, where he teleported, and when he teleported to escape from Kurz, he ended up in the atmosphere above a planet. And let's just say when you ended up in the atmosphere of a planet with nothing else around you, things don't go well. So he kind of like, yeah, good thing he's immortal, right? Not his finest moment, but he's still pretty cool, right? He did eventually come back after the heresy, and there's this war called the War of the Beast, which is this big orc invasion. Orcs are in the setting, by the way. Don't read into it. But there's this big orc invasion called a Wa, and it was devastating. And Vulcan was able to completely stop that invasion. He also died at it, and he's since yet to come back from that. But yeah, at least he stopped it. And another big L that is definitely brought up a lot about Vulcan is that he incinerated an Eldar child alive.
That is something he did, yeah.
Yeah, but I will say it was in a moment of weakness. He was being goaded by the Night Lords because he was really pissed off by them. And he saw this Eldar child who was a psyker, and a lot of these Eldar were causing problems or whatever, and he's like, all right, get incinerated, and fucking incinerated this kid. So yeah, you know, all our faves can be a little problematic. It really weighed on him. It really weighed on him. He's sorry. He said he was sorry.
Did say he was sorry.
Yeah. Instant smash. I don't think there's any debate here. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna move on. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, StormKing.
Chat. He's a family man. He loves you. He cares for you genuinely. He'll make sure you get home safe. He'll call you. He'll pick you up, ask what you want to do, take you to a nice dinner. Bro cares. He'll listen. He'll talk about his hobbies when he gets a chance. If you give him the opportunity. He's just a nice guy. And you know, you could have a beer with him. He'd make you breakfast in the morning. Yeah, most likely. And you know what? He's probably a grill master too.
He's probably really fucking.
Bring him out to Imperium version of the 4th of July. Bro is slanging burgers. Ask you, he'll even bring like vegan options if you want. You know, bro cares.
One thing that's really cool about Vulcan is that, like, most of all these other Primarchs had, like, kind of a warlord upbringing and, like, on their adoptive planets or whatever. Vulcan didn't have that. Like, his adoptive father was, like, a caring, compassionate blacksmith, and Vulcan took up in that trade. So Vulcan never had any experience leading armies or anything like that. So when the Emperor found him, the Emperor's like, I really like you. I like how, like, compassionate and honorful you are, but, like, I can't give you your legion right now because you don't know how to fucking war. Like, I need a general, like, etc. So that's how compassionate this dude is. Like, he doesn't know only war. He knows there's more to humanity than just that. Like, it's really nice seeing a bit of light in a grimdark setting.
Houlihan, that is the funniest thing that you've ever said.
Oh my gosh, my wife.
That's really good. Also, even like a side thing, bro kills dragons. You know, that's just cool. So smash.
Yeah, so his legion, the salamanders, those are the dragons in question. So, like, his planet has these things called salamanders, and they're literally fucking dragons. So, yeah. That's what he's wearing. He's wearing the hide of one of them right now.
All right, Judge, what you think? Yeah. I think I already know, but...
Big time smash. I mean, come on here. Like, I could curl up on a single one of those pectorals of this man.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. And on top of that, considering the environment, I feel like he'd give a hell of a hot stone massage.
Ooh, get some hot candle wax if you're into that. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we already made our decision.
Yeah, I think we need to move on before I get a little too hot and bothered. It's getting steamy in here.
Give me my next one.
Give me the next
one. Also, throw Houlihan a towel.
Yeah, I'll check in on her later.
Oh, baby.
All right. This is another one that I'm going to turn it over to you, StormKing.
Listen, I don't know much about Corvus Corax. One thing about me, I love me some Ravens. Edgar Allan Poe, one of my favorite authors. Bro is very anti-slavery. He's a liberator. Stands up for the downtrodden, even though he uses some of the weapons that, you know, slavery used, but it's to send a message. A bit about him. Apparently he's introverted, very true. Redemptive, shadowed, the liberator, chooser of the slain. That's a literal nickname they give him. It doesn't flow off the tongue at all. Listen, that is a canon nickname. You know, if Daenerys can have a million names, so can he. Turnons, apparently the moral and the loners. Deep, meaningful conversation, protecting the innocent and judging the cruel. Turn-offs, the wasteful and oppressive, profound hatred of chaos, wasteful sacrifice. Bro is, okay, if you're detecting a theme, like me, the Goths. But this one, instead of being really sad and very depressing like Kurz, bro's got hope for the future and just wants to see people do better. He's not a traitor. He's not chaos. He is a loyalist. Let me just say that. But you know, bro's just got some swagger. I'm a sucker for feathers and raven wings. Bro has a sick jump pack. I love that. Apparently, his biggest W's, truly innovated the Great Crusade with his hit and run style of fighting, was able to survive the drop site massacre, ultimately saving his legion. Bro's resilient. Bro, his like Primarch power is that, so they all have powers. We can kind of touch on him here and there. He can just, you can't see him. He'll be there. If you like record him on a camera or something, he's there, but he can manipulate people or like vision around him. So you can't see him. And you know damn well his music taste, probably really good, in my opinion. Biggest L's? Failed gene seed experiment unfortunately mutated his legion. Yeah, there's a couple of mutants in his legion that he had to mercifully put down. And he didn't want to do it. He had to like hunt down these like raven altered Marines. And when he found them, they looked at him like essentially, you know, they're his sons and he was their father. And they looked up to him like, Dad, is it time to go home? And he didn't want to do it, but he had to put them out of their misery. So he's compassionate. He cares. Lost in the warp, becoming tainted by the thing he hates the most. Listen, just because now he is he's hunting down Lorgar, the religious fanatic. He hates that guy. Lorgar shoved up in his stupid little spire in the warp, and outside of the window, rapping at his door. Get the reference. Is Corvus Corax, just kind of sitting there in a slightly demonic bird form, but he's still probably loyal. And you know what? I love that about him. So I just see him. Hey, Lorgar, let me in, please. So honestly, all the vibes are checked. I love me a goth baddie. So that's a smash.
Yeah, just added things for him. I don't know a lot about Corvus Corax myself, so all the research I've done on him for this project is literally the bare minimum of what I know. He's also one of those Primarchs that actually doesn't have a lot written about him either, but like it's more interesting than Ferrus Manus. And honestly, big smash. I think it'd be really cool if both him and Lorgar were to come back to the 40k setting with their own models. And I think it'd be a really interesting duality of if Lorgar in his demon Primarch form came back and he looks almost like uncomfortably human or whatever, and like then Corvus comes back and he's like this mutated like Raven Crow looking monstrosity. I don't know if anybody here's played Fear and Hunger or anything like that, but maybe he looks like the crow, like a twisted version of the Crow Mauler from Fear and Hunger. That'd be really cool. But that's just hope for what's to come. GW is not going to do anything that cool, unfortunately. I'm sorry to shit on GW, but I don't think they have the balls to do that.
Jesus.
But yeah, Corvus Corax is an easy smash. He's basically Kurz if Kurz was cool.
Watch your mouth.
No, I will not. Kurz is an incel, and that's
no. Shut up. Anyway, Judge.
I'm also going smash for this one. I kind of agree. I feel like this is all the goth baddie that I would have wanted Kurz to be. And on top of that, I think, obviously we know ravens are very intelligent animals, and it seems like he has a lot of influence over the ravens he controls. And I think it would be cool to see what he can just have them do, having them pick up neat little things and
kind of echoing what I said about Vulcan. I think like Corvus Corax is the next biggest hope of the setting. Like I really like these little bits of light in this honestly horribly and probably oppressive grimdark setting. And like Corvus Corax being like a liberator and everything like that, like that's cool. That's just objectively cool, and it's more interesting to me than like all the dark facets of things, Like the grimdark stuff is interesting to me, but like I like the little glimpses of light in there too. So like it's just cool to have him in the setting. I hope they do more with him soon.
All right.
Our last Primarch. Are you ready, Judge?
Oh, I'm ready.
We're going to go on a little bit of a journey with this guy.
Or should we say, these guys?
These guys! So, our last Primarch is a little difficult to talk about because he's actually two Primarchs. And it's not because he's twins or anything like that. No, he is one person split into two. Because, like I said earlier, the warp, like the concept of a soul, is canon to 40k. Alfarius and by in turn Omegon are one soul split. They are the same person, and together they are equal to one Primarch. He runs the Alpha Legion, which is a fan favorite in the meme community. A real big meme in the community is saying that but I'm Alfarius, that kind of thing, because his entire legion will get plastic skin grafts to look like Alfarius. So his entire legion looks like him. And you probably see where I'm going with this, but Alpha Legion is the subterfuge legion, the trickery legion. That's all they do. They love their little games, their plots upon jokes upon all that kind of stuff. He's secretive, he's cunning, and he's deceptive. He's a piece of shit. No, I didn't say that. And that's why I kind of phoned it in with the turn-ons and the turn-offs, because whatever I could have wrote for turn-ons or turn-offs could have easily been refuted, because he could have been that's probably not him. The only thing we really know about him is he's secretive and he lies. So he's a bit of a liar, but he's really intelligent at it too, to the point where we don't actually know for sure if he is a loyalist or a traitor or not. And it is a common joke in the community that, actually Alfarius, all the terrible stuff that he does during the heresy or whatever is to get the emperor interred on the golden throne, and because that was the best route to go forward. So he has to act as a traitor in order to save the Imperium. Or maybe it's not that. Maybe he's doing a double cross, etc. So we get into some weird territory with Alfarius Omegon, because they are two different Primarchs of the same soul. We don't really know much about them. They're all over the place, and even their stories of their origins are wrong. So technically, Horus was the first Primarch to be discovered according to the lore. But that's also a lie, because Alfarius was found just right on Earth. And he was kept secret from his brothers until the very end, until somebody representing Alfarius was discovered by Horus as the last Primarch to be found. But maybe that was actually Omegon. We don't know. Maybe the other two were Alfarius and Omegon. And even their upbringing is just completely shrouded in mystery. We really don't know. So, some of the biggest W's of the Alpha Legion, and we don't even know if these are technically wins or losses for them, to be honest. But they did infiltrate the Sol System and the Imperial Palace, and sowed confusion on the Loyalists defending the system, and were instrumentive in Horus actually invading the Sol System. He basically controlled the entire information game and fueled all the lies for the heresy as well too. So he's the one kind of just doing it, and etc. His biggest L's are, and maybe not even L's, because he technically died at the Battle of Escrador by the hands of Robute Gilliman, allegedly. And then, of course, he also died at the Battle of Pluto by the hands of Rogel Dorn, citation needed. We don't know if either of those deaths were confirmed, and we don't even know if either of those deaths were either Alfarius or Omegon. So that's where we stand with them. So, to bring a long story short, Alfarius and Omegon, they're a very interesting Primarch to read about. It's all the subterfuge and lies. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I didn't see this coming, that kind of thing. Very cool, but ultimately, I'm going to have to say, pass Alfarius, smash Omegon.
Okay. I'm just going to put that on a pass.
I see what you did there.
You
give me 0.5 for each.
That's not how this works. Chad, I'm going to be honest with you. Twins? Come on. That's like a common trope of hey, yo, but twins, though. I don't care if you're they're like the same person.
Twins?
I'm crippling monogamous.
And that is why you are weak. Just kidding. But, hey, yo, twins? I don't care if I'm being lied to. I'm not going to make that joke. But, hey, it happens. If it's just a fling, as a twin, I'd never want to do anything with him there.
Yeah, good point, Putrid Soul. I think StormKing is being a little too crass right now.
I don't want to hear you, Baron. Anyway, I think I'd be. They're gonna pull out some weird shit. They're gonna pull out some weird stuff that I've never seen before. I don't know, man. I'm into it, so I'm gonna say smash.
Hard fucking pass. Nobody wants to be in this parent trap situation of a relationship. Fucking pass.
Have some excitement in your life.
Have some dignity.
No, I'm also going hard pass.
Oh.
Based on everything Baron described, all this has led me to believe is that whatever the fuck I'm looking at right now is the human equivalent of a glory hole. You just don't know what you're getting.
Oh my gosh, Judd.
You just don't know
what I
what
expected.
you just don't know what you're getting.
Okay. That's. Oh yeah. Okay.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't. All right. Also, again, I apologize on the quality of the image. This is one of the other images that took me forever to find.
No, cookies.
No, yeah,
Thank
no.
you,
I think Judd's right on this. Yeah. No, he got us. He got us, ladies and gents.
You're boring.
And you're stupid. I'm sorry.
What the heck?
We shouldn't be that angry at each other. We just got to the end here. But so, ladies and gentlemen, that was all the Primarchs. But wait, who's that? Oh no! Wait, is there somebody else? Oh,
It's the Emperor with the steel chair.
The master of mankind. After all you've learned, chat, the greatest questions await you. The Emperor, would you smash or pass?
Bro, I already know my answer.
And I'm gonna do a poll for this one. Allow me this. Question: smash or pass? Daddy Emp.
Oh.
Smash. Pass. And we'll give 2 minutes.
Oh, bro, 1.
Okay, 1. Gosh, you're so impatient. Start poll.
I answered my own.
All right.
My own polls.
Houlihan and Bichecki, the poll is in on the top of chat there, and you can vote in there.
Bro, it's resounding. We already know. Nobody likes this guy.
Yeah, no, everybody fucking hates this guy. Like, honestly, I'm prepared to call this early.
I'll say it right now.
Resounding
pass.
Yeah.
Bro is a horrible dad. He doesn't see these people as his sons. He sees them as tools. Can you imagine if your dad walked up to you and be like, "You're not my kid. You're a tool. You're something that I could use." Bro.
Yeah, no, it's not a way to live, and I'm gonna echo that pass because I'm just thinking, and I'm gonna take this a little bit further. Just imagining how that night would be. Like, the Emperor would be like, "Oh, I am the greatest at sex. I am so good at doing all of this, and you're going to enjoy everything here." And then he's gonna do it, and it's gonna last like not very long. It's gonna be very not pleasurable for you, and honestly, it probably is like painful in certain degrees. And then you're kind of like, "Hey, I didn't really like that." And the Emperor's like, "No, you did. You liked that for these reasons." And he's gonna be like, he's just gonna gaslight you the whole time. And then he probably will tell you that, like, "Oh, that's the best sex you ever had." But then when you talk to him later, he's gonna be like, "Actually, I really hated that, and I never liked it at all. And I don't know what you're talking about." That's just kind of the kind of person this guy is.
Yeah, no.
Elon Musk with his child shield? Yes. Honestly, this Elon Musk wishes he had the aura the Emperor has, but the Emperor is very much like an Elon Musk personality.
So I think a resounding pass.
Yeah, what do you got, Judd?
Except not. Big pass.
Yeah, we're not fucking this guy. We hate this guy. Put him in the wall.
Put him on the chair.
Yeah. Fuck this guy. All right. So we've had a lot of fun here today, guys. Start playing the sad, soulful music.
As we go on.
Copyright. All good things must come to an end. I really enjoyed putting this together. If you like stuff like this for us to do later, or in various things, it doesn't even have to be about Warhammer. We could even do it about something else. Maybe someone else could be the main host of it too. I don't care. I think this was just a fun little creative project that I could dive into, and almost to an unhealthy amount like I usually do. But I'm glad I had this output. I thank StormKing for letting me do this and almost basically having free reign on this. He did check me a couple times, which fair. I needed to be checked. But some of the big things we gotta thank some folks here. Obviously, my art credit, Mauro Belfiore. Literally all the pictures that you were seeing there, and then the rest of them here were the various other pictures that you saw as well too. So Veronica and Rathi, John Blanche. John Blanche is the best artist of 40K, the most iconic artist, other than Adrian Smith, who's next up here, and then Alvaro Jimenez. And then special thanks for my little bachelor judge. Judd, I hope you found your Valentine here tonight, and we can set up a date. Out of all the Primarchs today, Judge, what would you say is your favorite?
Ooh. I'd probably have to go back to Jarathi Khan.
Jagatai?
Jagatai?
Yeah. Yes.
Gotta get lost in them Jagathais.
Exactly.
This guy.
Yep. And then, of course, I have to give out a thanks to the Warhammer 40K wiki, because I wasn't going to read all these books. Fuck that. Helped me a lot. Shout out, if you want to know more about the 40K universe in general, I recommend taking a look at Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky and DK Diamante's there.
Bricky!
I think is Kirioth also a big part of the stream now, too?
Yeah, Kirioth takes he pops in every now and then.
Yeah, so like those three, and I'm also going to shout out their mod Shy as well too. They really, they don't need a shout out from us. We have 7 people in this stream. They're huge, but like still, if I get 7 people into listening to their content, getting into 40K, you know what? That's great. Like I listen to them on my drives home and back from work, preparing for this stuff. And honestly, this wouldn't exist without that. So that's great. Also, even though I shit on Games Workshop, please don't take us down. Please don't sue us. Blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't be here without Games Workshop. And wouldn't be here without them making these funky little ideas back in the 80s. So that's pretty cool. And, of course, people like you, chat. Thank you for all the subs. I'll let StormKing take care of that.
I was going to say, okay, hold on.
Yep. I got you.
But yeah, Judge, thank you for joining. Thank you for being our captive audience, essentially.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I hope you spend copious amounts of money on plastic crack now.
I will not be.
I hope you find love
in the plastic crack. Yeah, Adric, Adeptus Ridiculous is actually like one of my favorite things that came out of like the Warhammer community. I love Bricky, I love DK, I love Shy and Kirioth and all of them. So if you're into if you want to learn more, and in they present it in not a boring way. They do prioritize entertainment over accuracy, but if you're into like an hour long, you want to check out something, they've got hundreds, dozens of episodes. I don't know about hundreds. I don't count all the videos they have. But yeah, check them out if you want. Games Workshop, as much as I love them, I actually, let me reverse that. As much as I dislike some of the choices, I'm obviously a big fan. So, yeah, you want an expensive hobby, check that out as well. And then, yeah, the people like you, chat. Again, I know, especially with all the subs that rolled in today, holy. My next episode of the Stormcast show has a raging success. So I really appreciate everyone showing up, chatting, talking, all the fun stuff, letting me just be a silly little guy on the internet. So the final score, StormKing, 13 smashes, 6 passes, Baron with 12 smashes and 7 passes, and then Judge, 10 smashes and 9 passes. So